Welcome to Lesson 4 of Level C of How to Teach Your Child to Read. Today we are going to learn ing, sh, and about the hard C and soft C sounds. Before we learn anything new, let's review our consonants. When I point to the letter, you tell me the sound it makes. B. Do you remember this one? D. F. H. J. K. L. M. N. P. T. V. W. Z. Qu. Let's review our vowel teams from lessons 1 through 3. A, oi, oi, e, o, oi, oi, a, oi, o, e. If you found this hard, then please go back and look at lessons 1, 2, and 3. Now, you might know or you might not know that the letter C has two sounds. The first sound, k, is the sound you hear in words like cat. That is called the hard C, or the first sound of C. We use the hard C, or the first sound, before the letters A, O, and U. The second sound of C is often called the soft C. That sound is S. We use the second sound of C before the letters E, I, and Y. Anytime you're looking at a word, if you're trying to figure out whether to use the first sound, K, or the second sound, S, look at the next letter. If the next letter is an A, O, U, or any consonant, try the hard C. If it's an E, I, or Y, try the second sound, also called the soft sound, S. When I point to the letter, you tell me the two sounds it makes. K, S. K, S. K, S. K, S. This letter C is followed by an A. That means we want to use its first sound, also called the hard C. K, K, ag, cag. The letter O also makes the C say its hard sound. K. So our word will be k, all, call. It's okay if you don't recognize these words because these are nonsense words or made-up words that are just to help you practice reading. The letter U also makes C use its first sound. K, of, cov. The letter I, along with the letters E and Y, makes C use its second sound, S. So this word will be s, ill, sill. We have another letter C. We want to figure out if we want its hard sound or first sound, k, or the soft sound or second sound, s. Remember, the rule is we use s if the next letter is E, I, or Y. Everything else will use the hard sound. We have an E, so we want to use the second sound, S. So this word will be S, N, sen. E, I, and Y make the C say its second sound, so we want to use S. So this nonsense word will be S, ip, sip. Okay, do you remember the rule to tell if we want the first or second sound? The rule is E, I, and Y make the C use its second sound, S. S, eb, seb. Do you remember the rule? E, I, and Y make the C say S. So this word will be S, it, sit. Let's practice some more. Do you remember the rule? E, I, and Y make the C use its second sound, S. This isn't an E, an I, or a Y, so we want to use the first sound, K. K. Ugh, cug. E, I, and Y make the C use its second sound, S. This is not one of those letters, so we want to use the hard sound, K. K. Aj, codge. E, I, and Y make the C use its soft sound, also called the second sound, S. S, it, sit. Is this an E, I, or a Y? It isn't, so we want the hard sound, K. K. Uz, cuz. Is this an E, I, or Y? Yes, it is. So we want the soft sound. S, s, l, sell. Is this an E, I, or Y? It is. So we want the second sound. S, s, id, sid. Is this an E, I, or Y? No, it is not. So we want the normal first sound, also called the hard C. K. Calm. Is this an E, I, or Y? It isn't. So we want the first sound. K. K. Ass. Cass. Is this an E, I, or a Y? It is. So we want the second sound. S. Sem. Don't get discouraged if you feel that this is very slow with having to remember the rule. With enough practice, you will know it and you won't have to think about it. Is this an E, I, or a Y? It is. So we want the second sound. S, iv, sieve. E, I, or Y? No, we want the hard C. K. K. Av, kav. E, I, or Y? Yes. So we want the second sound, the soft C. S, ilm, silm. E, I, or Y? Yes, so we want the soft sound. S, enp, semp. Did you notice that sometimes I will call it the soft C and sometimes I'll call it the second sound? S. And sometimes, like here, I will call it the hard C and sometimes the first sound. K. That's because you may hear each of these referred to both ways. So I want to make sure you understand that hard C and first sound of C both mean K. And the soft C and the second sound of C both mean S. E, I, or Y? Yes. So we want the second sound. S, sipped, sipped. E, I, or Y? Yes. So we want the second sound. S, est, sest. E, I, or Y? Yes. So we want the second sound. S, ig, sig. Now you might wonder, why does this get to be called the first sound of C? K. And this one gets to be called the second sound of C. S. The hard C, or first sound, is called the first sound because the letter C makes the K sound far more often than it makes the S sound. So that means if you forget the rule and you can't remember it and you have a new word that you must try to sound out, first try the first sound K, because it is used more often. If that doesn't sound right and you know you have a real world word and not a nonsense word, then try the word again with the S sound to see if you recognize the word. Here are our new teams for today. This one is sh. This one is ing. Do you remember this one? Ing. Sh. Sh. Ing. You might be asking yourself, why do we have 2 letters here and 3 letters here making one sound? English has a problem. We only have 26 letters, but we have far more than 26 sounds. That means sometimes we need to put together a team of letters and have them make a different sound than they would each make on their own. If you had the S by itself, its sounds would be S or sometimes Z, and the H would be H, but sh is a totally separate sound. But we don't have enough letters. We don't have a letter sh, so we have to use these 2 letters to make that one sound. Do you remember this one? Ing. Sh. Are you trying to say the sounds before I say them? Sh. Ing. Sh. Ing. Let's practice our new sounds with some real words. When I point to the word, you sound it out. Say it slowly and then say it fast. Sh, eep. Now say it fast. Sheep. Say it slowly and then say it fast. Sh, eat. Sheet. S, ing. Sing. Ing. Ring. Sh, ear. Shear. St, ing. Sting. Sting. Ing. Wing. Op. Shop. In. Shin. Ing. Ping. Ing. Ding. Eesh. Sheesh. Let's practice with some more real words. Once again, when I point to the word, you sound it out slowly and then say it fast. Z, ing, zing. P, eel, peel. Ing, ying. Ale, pale. Oh, here's a letter C, so let's use our rule. Do we have an E, I, or Y? We don't, so we use the first sound. K. K. Oi, koi. Ale, male. Sp, oil. Spoil, spoil. Oat, moat. We have a letter C. Let's use our rule. Is this an E, I, or a Y? It is not. So we use the first sound. K. K. Oil, coil. P. L, A, play. V, oid, void. R, eel, real. B, oil, broil. S, ing, sing. B, oat, boat. Spring, spring. Let's review our teams once again. A, oi, oi. E, o, sh, ing, a, oi, o, e. If you remembered all of these, you are probably ready for the next lesson. If you're still having a lot of trouble with these, please go back and look at lessons 1, 2, or 3, unless you're only having trouble with sh or ing, in which case you should do this lesson again. Let's practice with some nonsense words. L, ing, ling. Sh, eel, sheel. We have a letter C. Let's use our rule. Is it an E, I, or a Y? It is. So we want to use the second sound. S, s, ing, sing. Oh, and once again, on this page, we are practicing with nonsense words. So if you don't recognize these, that's fine because they are made up. We have the letter C. Let's use our rule. Is it an E, I, or a Y? It is. So we are going to use the second sound. S, sh, sesh. T, est, test. Ish, heesh. V, ing, ving. M, ing, ming. T, ash, tash. I'm going to skip this one for now. We have the letter C. Let's use our rule. Do we have an E, I, or a Y? We do. So we want to use the second sound. S, s, eb, seb. Let's use our rule. Do we have an E, I, or a Y? We do. So we want the second sound of C. S, s, it, sit. Here's what we're going to learn about in the next lesson. This letter combination has two sounds, o, ow. One way to remember them is slow down. Slow uses the O sound. Down uses the ow sound. O, ow. Do you remember the two sounds? O, ow, like in the words slow down. O, ow. This combination only has one sound. Ah, ah, ah. Do you remember the two sounds of this? O, ow, like in the words slow down. Ah, ah. If you're ready for the next lesson, then please go on to lesson 5. If you had trouble with any of the vowel teams or with the hard C and soft C, please redo whichever lesson or lessons you need from lessons 1, 2, or 3, or 4. Thank you, and see you next time.